I'm speaking with the forward on the rise for the 2017 New Zealand and Argentina tour, Jack Murday. How are you?
I'm very well, mate. How are you going?
Just introduce yourself a little bit, Jack. You're up in North Queensland. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
So I was born and bred up here in Mossman. It's about an hour north of Cairns. Played rugby up here for the Port Douglas Reef Raiders, the most northern club in Queensland. And work on the family property up here, sugarcane farm, for half the year, and then I'm a geologist, so go into the bush doing exploration when it's dry enough.
You've done a little bit of living. Tell us a little bit about an adventure you had through Africa recently.
A few years ago, a mate and I, we went on a bit of holiday to Cape Town, and over there we decided to buy a car, and then we just headed off driving. 6 months later, we got about halfway up Africa, and then Tanzania. Met a few guys up there, played a bit of rugby for Tanzania, and actually got 2 yellow cards and subsequently red carded one game. Year of the World Cup in London, and we sort of got thinking about it, and we thought, it'd be good to get a European summer and watch the World Cup. So we're driving a old busted ass Land Rover, so we got in contact with them, who were sponsoring the World Cup, and they said, if you make it up here, we'll get you tickets to a few games. So off we went, and went through Northern Africa and the Middle East and through Europe, and made it there the day before the World Cup kicked off, and enjoyed ourselves over there. But yeah, it was a great trip.
The 2017 tour, can you just tell us a little bit about the highlights from that tour? We had 2 games in Auckland, one against Papakura, one against the Auckland Police, who were quite strong, and then 3 games through Argentina. Did any of those stand out for you?
I enjoyed the New Zealand games. They were a real test. And then just the Argentinians, a different style of rugby they played. That was good fun as well. Hard to pick out a favourite moment or favourite time. I think just the touring mentality and training with all the boys and staying in the same place and catching the bus to the game was a real highlight.
I suppose the mantra of the Stockman Rugby Club is it's a character-building environment. Was there a bond you shared with a lot of the guys, or was there something special about that group of men you toured with? Yeah,
definitely. Everyone was different, but we all sort of had the same mentality, sort of blokes from the country, and a lot of laughs, and when we needed to get stuck in, we did that.
One of the things we tried to focus on during the tour was men's mental health, and in particular domestic violence, substance abuse, suicide prevention, and topics around depression. What did you take home from that, and were they worthwhile, do you think, for guys living in rural, remote or regional Australia?
Yeah, I think I took a lot away from it. It's obviously an important issue, especially in rural Australia. The most I took out of it was just, as you know, we had a few group get-togethers and a few discussions, and people just opened up about their experiences and life in general. And even those who didn't really have, or even if you don't have a mental illness as such, it's still quite empowering just talking about things, and you get a lot out of it just talking amongst each other and sharing experiences.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. You've got a brother who's had a few caps for the Reds. I think he's in France at the moment, playing in the top 14. You've watched him, go from school into the professional ranks. What were the big changes there, or the differences you watched him go through into playing professional rugby?
Well, one thing I know is that it's a huge sacrifice. It's something that I've always wanted to do, but after seeing a family member go through it, you know how tough it actually is. But at the same time, he had a goal. He knew what he wanted to do, and he did everything he could to do that. Made a lot of sacrifices financially and socially. Did the whole circuit. He went to the Force and the Brumbies, then to the Reds, and over to the Blues, and back to the Reds without sort of cracking it. He had a few caps here and there off the bench. I think the best thing for his rugby was going to New Zealand and playing in the domestic competition over there, the Mitre 10 Cup. Yeah, some of the best rugby in the world played over there. And if you want sort of a rugby apprenticeship, that's where you do it. So you got a lot out of that. And then it sort of finally paid off. Now he's playing over in France in the top 14. So in some ways, all the sacrifices he made are sort of worthwhile now. But yeah, I think it makes you realise that if you want something and you make the sacrifice and put the effort in, you can get there. Certainly wouldn't discourage anyone wanting to become professional to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we were in Mendoza and we had a little workshop. One of the things Sean spoke about was closing down the white noise and just focusing on specific things that you were trying to improve in your game?
Yeah, that was great. And I really liked his sort of, he took your personal attributes in life and how they relate to how you play as a rugby player. And I think there's a lot of comparisons you can draw there, and a lot of things you need to work on in the rugby field, you need to work on in your personal life as well, and vice versa.
If you were looking at young guys in rural or regional Australia, what advice would you give them if they wanted to take their rugby to the next level or take their next opportunity?
It's just stay passionate, stay committed, try all the avenues you can. I know it's getting better now. In the past, you sort of had to move to Brisbane or Sydney if you want to be seen, but I think there are avenues opening up through the sort of the country representative side. There's a few different tours, including Stockman's, that you can get involved in. They'll really help develop your rugby, and you'll meet a lot of great blokes at the same time. And if you want to do it, just make the sacrifices and, yeah.
I heard you recently had about 28 mil of rain in the last fortnight.
Yeah, it's been a bit wet up here at the moment. Just working on a family farm at the moment. Our rugby pre-season's well and truly underway. Appointed a new coach and got a few new promising players in. If anyone wants to play rugby up in Paradise, we'll help you find accommodation and work if you want to head up this way. I think Tom Caskey, one of the guys who was on tour, he said he's flying up next weekend. We've got a Thames competition in Cairns. He's going to be our ring-in. He's probably will talk, but we'll find out on Saturday.
He hasn't changed a bit, Kegsy. I spoke to him recently, actually.
Oh, God.
Jack Murday, you're one of the most humble guys I've ever met. You've played the house down, and I haven't seen you take a backward step on the football field. Thanks so much for sharing this evening with us.
Thanks, Pete. Good to catch up with you, mate.